welcome back to Striking Kicks. I've got Kenzie here.
Hey, guys.
And myself, Chayton Peterson, co-owners of Championship Bowling. And we've got another episode today of the Striking Kicks podcast. Kenz, what is our schedule? What are we looking at? What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about League Week 2 and 3. We're going to talk about Storm Utah Open. We have a good conversation with Brad Miller and Chayton. And then we just have a question for everybody at the end.
Perfect. All right. Well, I guess let's first start it off with this conversation that Brad Miller and I had at the Storm Utah Open. It was on the Saturday qualifying squad. I was in the middle of it, so we're gonna clip in here. Basically, you're gonna watch some bowling that was taking place. If you're watching this on YouTube or one of the clips, and you're going to hear about Brad and I talking about kind of the future of bowling and bowling media and just kind of where things are heading. It was a really good conversation that he and I had that I think a lot of you guys will appreciate. So let's split it in right now.
So I have a question. How long ago did you start Championship Bowling?
I did, yeah, March of 2021.
March of 2021.
Yep.
And what was your original goal with it?
So initially, we have the Storm Northwest Tour. Tournaments like these, there's a lot of good competition out here. And
how often do they run?
Probably once or twice a month.
Okay.
During the season. And a lot of the guys from Storm Bowl, right? There's a lot of Steve Klemkin, Alex Hoskins, Kendall Miles, George O'Cleanas. Like, these guys are probably good enough to be on tour if they wanted to be. And I don't know. There's just a lot of good talent, and no one saw it. And initially, you couldn't even find information on the tournament. So I just wanted to post online, bring some, youthful feeling stuff so that people knew that where these tournaments were taking place, that they were even happening. And so I brought a camera to the tournament and started live streaming it, and we just kept growing from there.
So it originally started out as you wanting to live stream tournaments.
Basically, I was going to live stream myself, right? But then you move pairs, and it's like, I don't want to carry all this shit around. And it was too much. So I just set it, and then brought a mic one time and started calling the action, then interacted with the chat. And
do you know how many viewers you had on that first live stream?
Oh, man, probably like 10.
3?
Maybe, at the absolute max.
And now you're sitting here with 500, man. Isn't that crazy?
I know. It's pretty humbling to see how far we've come in such a short time. Like, this time last year, we were eclipsing 1,000 followers on Instagram, and now we're 10K on everything. Right?
Yeah.
17,000 on Facebook. We just hit 10,000 on YouTube, and I don't know, man. It's been really humbling to watch it grow. And we hosted our first tournament in September. We hosted a tournament. It was awesome. We had like 209 entries. The entry fee was $160, and we paid $5,000 to win and $23,000 total in prize money for the tournament. So it went super well. The format was unique. We kind of took pieces of every tournament we liked. Some from this tournament. We did a double elimination bracket on Sunday that turned out to be really cool. It was best of 2 matches. So we kind of pulled that out of the PBA league book. And so in hopes that would just create drama. Like, some of our favorite calls are when matches are close and stuff, and everybody's watching. So we just kind of want to try to bring more of that. And the matches, it worked perfect. There were so many ties that went to 1-ball roll-offs. And the last match, Clay lost to Alex. They split, lost in the roll-off, went to another one because he was in the winner's bracket, split again, and then went 3 more rounds in the roll-off. We had a kid here, Kyle Morrison. He's actually bowling really well now, too. Lost because the guy he was bowling went to a roll-off. He 10-pinned. Kyle Morrison steps up 7/10 to lose. Oh, it was such a bad beat.
I feel like I know Kyle Morrison for some reason. Is he a tall
bowling.
guy?
Yeah, he's tall. He's a big dude. He
Yeah.
throws it really good. He's maxed the ball at the bottom.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's really crazy to see what's happening on the internet with bowling.
It is.
And it's like if you look at the old model of for the PBA, for a professional bowler, for money to come in, you had to be on national television.
Sure.
That's the only place where sponsors were.
Yep.
It's the only way you can get in front of an audience.
Exactly.
And now the players can almost build their own brands.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say just as big as the PBA, but they can make. They don't have to have the PBA to make a living.
Sure.
Not only that, in the same breath, they don't have to have the PBA to make a living anymore. But in the same type of content, they promote the PBA to hundreds of thousands of people.
Exactly.
Potentially.
Yep.
So it's a win-win. It's like for the PBA, you're like, yes,
Yes.
my players are finally making a living.
Sure.
And they're doing it by promoting us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
It's really good to see. I remember, man, it was so long ago, and I watched your guys' like one of your first like 4 vlogs. It was on this. You could tell you used some like canned, pre-made like title screens and stuff. I've been there, trust me. But I just remember how far you guys have come from when you had like 4,000 subscribers to where you're at now, and how that's kind of cascaded to a lot of people just putting themselves out there and trying it.
Yeah, dude.
and have success with it, because like you said, we also, one of the benefits to this is we bring some value to the tournament director, that it's going to be seen. Like the last tournament we did in Idaho, Pocatello, like that stream, the Sunday stream has 40,000 views. Like it blew up pretty good. This one, both the last one had 10,000 views before we were even, not even on the VODs, the video on demands, but this one's almost at 10,000 already. We got 3 squads to go, and Sundays I'm hoping we get to 100K. Because Sundays are always so big. So we add a lot of value to the tournament, so that you can go, like, there's more than the 100 people that'll be here, or in this extreme case, is 700 people that might be here.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is, let's say, I know the bowling world isn't on Twitch really.
Yep.
The gaming world is.
Sure.
But let's say if this was a gaming live stream on Twitch right now, and it was getting 500 concurrent viewers, if your Twitch channel gets 500 concurrent viewers, people make a really solid living off that.
Yeah.
On the Twitch. Now, the monetization stuff is different between YouTube and Twitch and whatnot, but just literally in terms of reach, like, you already have a reach big enough to potentially make a living, and the direction of the world is going in that direction. So the internet's only going to have more sponsors coming up.
Yep.
You know, the sponsorship dollars and you're already seeing that. Amazon has Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
Now Sunday is going to be on YouTube, I think.
Okay.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
I did.
Like,
YouTube.
Like,
bought
it's
that.
already all going to the internet.
Right.
So if you, like, right now, currently, you have something that you can make a living off of.
Yep.
Maybe it's not right now bringing in the exact cash flow.
Sure.
But you have the audience for that to happen already.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm very proud with what we've been able to do. We've laid a lot of groundwork to build off of. In the future, we want to run more of our own tournaments, start making like a little mini tour and kind of expanding that out to bring stuff like this, where like we have some professional bowlers, but you also have amateurs putting themselves out there, seeing what it takes
You know
to
what I
bowl
think you should
at
do?
this level.
Since are you a guru with all this stuff? Do you like setting up all this camera stuff? And
I mean, it's a lot of work.
it is a
what
lot
we
of
do,
work.
but
That's why I don't like to do it. But I think what people could do is, or you could take like Alex, maybe Klumpkin, maybe the 5 best bowlers.
Sure. Yep.
Around town, and you set up a setup like this, one pair, and you get a couple cameras down lane by the pins. You mic them up. You have them bowl up. You do exactly what the PBA does.
Yep.
You just steal their model.
Yep.
You have a 1-game bowl-in,
Yep.
but the difference is they're mic'd up, and they're talking like
Exactly.
as they're going.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like really inclusive. If there's people who don't necessarily care for each other, then
Yep.
there's a little bit of drama.
Yep.
If you can find a sponsor, let's say like it's invitation only, but if you win, it's $5,000. So no entry. Maybe there's a $100 entry fee, $200 entry fee just to cover some expenses. But winner gets $5,000, second place gets $1,000. I'd show up for that.
Yeah.
And you'd mic me up. We'd bowl a game in, and we would just bowl, and then you would just plaster. You would plaster it all over social media.
Yeah.
Like all platforms, Instagram. You would stream it on YouTube,
Yep.
but after the fact,
Oh, yeah.
you would just clip,
Oh, yeah.
clip. Have all the fun parts, have all the crap talking parts, have all the unlucky parts, all across TikTok, Instagram. Because if you run an hour and a half step ladder, that's months worth of content you can put out.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting content because they're really good bowlers.
Yep.
They're mic'd up so
They're
that
mic'd
they
up,
could
yeah.
say whatever they want. It's the internet. You can say
Yep.
whatever you want. And it gives the players a personality, and it's also bowling good drama for decent money.
Yeah.
So it's basically like
Right.
people can run their own PBA shows now.
Kind of.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if you have the equipment,
Right.
and if you know how to like set it up.
You know
and
that,
stuff.
yeah. Exactly.
So I think that would be cool for someone to do, like just set up their own top 5s and we'll see if there's some crap talking going on,
Right,
or
right.
see if it builds into something.
Yeah.
Maybe that gets a sponsor, because of
Sure.
all the clip content that gets posted out.
Yep.
Maybe a good sponsor sees it, they want to donate 10 grand. Next thing you know, you got a little 5-person stepladder. First place is 15,000.
Yep.
That's almost more than a PBA
Right.
tournament.
Right.
You know?
That's kind of like our tournament. The 5,000 pays more than most regionals do when we did the $5,000. But you got a really good point, and we kind of hit a plateau at one point, and it was just me and Kenzie would kind of help out. But I really brought her in the fold, and I was like, we need more content for the rest of the socials. Like our Instagram wasn't growing, Facebook wasn't growing a ton. So then we invested into a camera, and then she started taking pictures of people, taking videos of people, and we cut some out of the stream and really hit hard. Instagram and Facebook and posting reels and all this other stuff with that camera, and then all of a sudden it started to blow up since then. So you're right.
Isn't that amazing how it just happens?
Yep.
And honestly, you can't even. It's tough. Like, you need advice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people who know a lot about this stuff. There's content creators that are
Yep.
really, really good.
Yep.
Particularly Jesse, like Darren's partner.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know of another video editor that's in the industry that's better. Like, I don't even know if like Jason Thomas is better from USBC. I don't
Sure.
think the PBA has a video editor that. So I actually think like Darren, a social media professional bowler,
Sure.
has the best editor in the industry.
Yeah.
A YouTube channel,
Yep.
not the PBA,
No, yeah.
not the USBC, and it shows because now they're crushing, and
They are.
they are crushing,
They
dude.
are. And it just like makes everybody try to.
They're
keep up. You
they're
keep raising
reaching
the bar
numbers.
and
They're
everybody will
reaching
come up
numbers Kyle and I have never reached,
with it. Yeah.
and they're putting Kyle and I in a spot where it's like, we got to do better. Holy cow!
Yeah.
So, what is the saying, like, all tides rise or together
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know. It's like, Kyle and I started when there was nothing,
Yep. There was nothing.
and then we got Darren to kind of catch on, got himself a Twitch channel. He met Jesse through Twitch,
Really? Wow.
and I think Darren might have started the Twitch channel on his own, but every video we had, we allowed him to say where the Twitch channel was, what it, Vitamin Detang,
Yep.
or whatever. Got him a few followers. Jesse got involved, and then now, bam, they're off and running. They have a beautiful business. They have a beautiful relationship,
yeah.
and that beautiful relationship and business is probably the best thing going
Yep.
for the PBA,
Yep.
for the USBC, for the amateur stuff.
Yep. What people don't realize is when his video does really good, the suggested video that's on there is usually someone else's video that also creates in the same space. So you're one of your videos, maybe one of ours, Beef and Barnsley's video, like
Exactly.
it's suggested. So the better he does, the better everybody else.
Everybody
does.
does.
Right.
But that was never. That was national television doesn't think that way.
No. Nope.
And you hear it with like the comedians that have all these podcasts now. They talk about those days where everybody was just fighting for a 20-minute spot on national television, on David Letterman, on something, and it was so cutthroat and it was nasty, and people would sell their souls to undercut people just
Sure.
to get that spot of fame. And what the internet has brought is just it's all together. We like, in a way, Kyle and I need Darren and Jesse to just create the new bar, and maybe there's another kid that'll come up that graduated from video editing school that thinks he can do it better. He's motivated. He goes out and does it better. That makes all of us better.
Right.
Now Packy's got a channel
Yep.
that's doing really good. Darren just hit 100,000. Packy's about to hit 100,000, and they're going to do it in less than 2 years. I think Darren might have done it in a year and a half. I don't know how long he's been doing it. It took Kyle and I 2 years to get to 9,000 subscribers, and now all it takes is a person to go, I want to do this, and they can have a business that supports them fully, in a year. Like, that wasn't even. So it's just so far off and running. It's crazy.
It's crazy. There's one of these kids, Lance Hill, in the chat here. Do you TikTok much?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lance Hill's 100K on TikTok. He's big time on TikTok, and that is a growing community now too.
Oh
As
my
that blows
gosh.
up, there's more bowlers in there. I've seen some people that have like 10,000 people in their live stream. They're just
Oh, yeah.
live streaming practice and mess around and stuff.
Or they
on-
do a ASMR
Right,
drill that gets 1.5 million views.
on TikTok. It's crazy.
And to think, like, yeah, that might not monetize like a YouTube 1.5 million YouTube video would monetize, and yeah, maybe that's not as valuable to like your personality because you're not really talking to an audience.
Sure,
You're just
sure.
kind of giving them a short piece of. But to get 1.5 million people to see anything,
Yeah.
like that wasn't really existent
Nope.
10 years ago.
Nope.
And now you could just drill a ball, no one knows who you are, and now everybody knows who you are
Right.
overnight.
I hear you. Barron's got us. A rising tide lifts all boats.
There we go.
That's the one it was. No, but I hear you, man. And honestly, all of us, I think, owe you guys a thanks that started it. You guys kind of started that revolution of young talent in the PBA that started doing the content creation thing that's led to all of this. Because, like you said, it's hard when you start out and there's no other people in the field.
Oh, we got.
You just create content for nobody. Basically.
There's no way we would have done it if Flanagan wasn't on our side. He's the one he taught us how to edit. He told us to watch Casey Neistat and David Dobrik on YouTube. We were making our videos based on Casey Neistat and David Dobrik.
Yep.
You know, like
Yep.
they were the two biggest YouTubers at the time.
Yep.
There were no bowlers.
Nope.
So, and Kyle and I differed. I liked Casey's videos, longer format. He liked Dobrik's videos, shorter format. So you could all actually, back in the day, you could always tell who edited the video.
Right.
Because if it was a lot of short cuts, then it was Kyle. If it was more longer format, it was me.
Yep.
But now, you know, the Packy's format, Darren's format is its own because it's so good. But Packy's format is just like ours, and that's exactly what you need. Like, there's only so much you can do.
Yep.
You know, Packy's not a amazing video editor. He's a guy that wants to be the next Tiger Woods of bowling. In a lot of ways, he shouldn't even have to run this YouTube channel to make a living.
Sure.
In a lot of ways, that's like kind of the PBA's job.
Yeah.
But it's also a blessing in disguise now, because you see a lot of these professional athletes. You see a lot of people on the golf tours complaining about the rights and the money.
Yep.
And you see people in the NFL complain about the money. You see people in the NBA complain about the money. You see people, UFC is a big one, complaining about the money.
Yep.
Like, the biggest superstars in the world the past 10 years have probably come out of the UFC, yet that's where you see the most complaining about how they run the company, where the money goes. So you know that if you go on the PBA tour, if you try to become a professional athlete, it doesn't matter if that organization has $95 billion. There's still going to be some unhappiness coming out of the players. And if you could have your own thing
Yeah.
that supports you, you don't even have to give that a thought anymore. You could just focus on your own thing and take all those negative emotions that you have toward your association, and you can just throw them away.
Yeah.
They don't affect you as much anymore.
Sure. Exactly.
So it's like, really, it's kind of life-changing in a lot of ways.
No. So bowling has interesting stories, and just no one told them before.
No one's told
no one knew them about it. This is unique to bowling. Tell me a sport that has something like this. Their professionals will compete at the same time as amateurs, and they're both bowling for $2,500 and a title in an organized competition outside of college. Like, other sports just don't have this, and this is a story that no one tells. Like, when I brought Kenzie doesn't come from bowling. She had no idea this even existed. She'd maybe seen the PBA on TV once, but no idea that this exists, where we're packing a bowling center, and there's so many people. I mean, 10,000 people have already watched this stream. Like, the story just wasn't being told, and we wanted to tell it because this is interesting. This is where it starts, in my opinion. If you want to get to the tour, you can go through college, but maybe you wanted to play a different sport in college. Maybe you were a football player, you play basketball or something, and you didn't choose to play. That's what I did. So I bowled as a youth, and I played baseball. I went to college for baseball. So there's a lot of kids like that. We had this kid, he's also pretty big on TikTok, bowl our tournament, that played football in high school and then didn't go to college to bowl, and now bowls. Like, because there's organized competition for it, where there's not for basketball and football at least a league level or tournament level like that. And for people that have a competitive spirit, I mean, this is perfect. If you can
It's
get
the
them into
best.
bowling, they want to come, they want to compete.
Yeah, and think about how many, just two aspects that I think about bowling is it's worldwide,
Yep.
and it's taken a lot more seriously in other countries than it is here. So just that alone, if you release a bowling video, there's a chance someone from any other country in the world can see it.
Oh, yeah.
So now, granted, if you release a football video, but how big is football in other countries?
Sure.
It's not.
Yeah. That's a
So
good point.
just in terms of potential,
Yeah.
like, how much more potential does bowling have just because it's worldwide? For one. Secondly, who's 60 years old and playing football?
Sure.
Who's 70 years old and playing
Exactly.
football? who's 90 years old and playing football? None. So on those two things alone, I feel like bowling should be bigger than football. But it's not.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not even a 100th
Sure.
of what NFL is.
Right.
And the way we get there is doing exactly what you're doing.
Yep.
You got to broadcast it from the ground up.
Yep.
You got to build it from within. You know, the idea of like going on Fox and getting national television airtime, yeah, that's important and it's an aspect, but the world is changing, and if bowling can take advantage of it, and the people who are taking advantage of it right now are the players, but if the PBA or the USBC can lean into that, and it's possible that bowling can be the biggest sport in the world. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Like actually the biggest sport in the world.
Could be.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah, I hear you.
Like how many more happy faces there would be, you know, maybe Storm's, you know, not as worried about their bowling balls being illegal now or
Sure.
whatever, you know, or the animosity between the PBA and the USBC and like, you know, who knows? Like
Yeah.
a lot of things can change.
Mhm.
Now, granted, more money, more problems.
Right.
But, you know, I'll take that, you know.
I would too. I hear you. I think we're starting to head. There's powers that be now that are pointing in the right direction.
Oh, yeah.
I think, and we just need to keep building momentum on
And
it.
I love guys like Blanchard, you know, player, wanted to make a change, started working for him. Like, immediately went to the company that he cares about the most, and from within,
Yep.
you know, starting where he wants to start. I think Blanchard is probably going to run the PBA at some point.
Think
like,
so?
like,
Yeah.
or he'll be like the national tour tournament director or whatever. Like,
Sure.
he'll be the main guy out there. But he's starting in the Northwest.
Sure.
You know, like, and he you know, he was probably 34, 35, maybe 36 when he got done bowling. That's around a good age. If you have a family, if you have all this stuff, and clearly it wasn't necessarily working out as a bowler as it is for most people. So he took that, kept his motivation, and decided to get in the company and start making changes from within.
Yep.
I respect the heck out of that, man.
yeah,
And it's people
that's
like
mad
that
respect.
who are gonna change the sport.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's that conversation with Brad. It was a really good conversation. Ken's, what do you think of it?
I think it's very informative, and I think that a lot of the information is definitely good to listen to. So make sure you don't scroll past that. Make sure you listen and just listen to what they're saying. A lot of it seems like that is the way that bowling's going to be going from what I've heard.
We hope so. We hope so, at least. I think once we get enough of us pushing the right direction, then I really think that because Brad makes a couple really good points about how bowling is pretty popular overseas. Where a lot of sports here in the U.S. Are kind of only popular here in the U.S. as far as large scale, and bowling's pretty popular and taken pretty seriously in other countries compared to us. And yeah, if we can get everybody on board, not only is it going to be popular worldwide, but folks that would just watch other sports like football will be able to also participate. You can participate in the competitive aspect of bowling, and I think that just benefits everybody. So hopefully we can all get pushing in the right direction.
Agreed.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the 2023 Storm Utah Open. It's the third time that we've covered this tournament. The first time we were not under championship bowling. It was under this when I had started this whole thing. Kind of started under the Storm Northwest Tour Facebook page. So that's where we kind of started, and it wasn't until after that tournament in March, I believe, that we transitioned into championship bowling. But third time covering the Storm Utah Open, and it was the biggest turnout yet that we've covered, biggest turnout in the tournament's history. And Kenzie, paint us a scene of what it looked like this weekend at Spare Time Lanes.
Basically, you could not get anywhere unless you were tripping over someone's bags, running into somebody. Everyone was in everyone's way. So there were just hundreds of people. Just whether they were bowling or not bowling, they were everywhere.
There were many, many people. I don't have too much of an issue. The only time that I really have an issue with is when I'm trying to change a camera battery or something to that extent. You're out there,
Tripping over
in the
bags
trenches,
all
in the
day.
trenches, trying to take content, pictures, and videos for us to use, later on in our socials and stuff. So you kind of get a better feel for just how many people were there packing into that center, which is not necessarily the smallest center in the world. There's definitely smaller centers out there, but 32 lanes, almost every squad sold out, and obviously it was really good for us. We had several professionals head out, Darren Tang, Brad Miller, Carolyn Dorn Ballard, PJ Haggerty, Josh Blanchard. There's several big names headlining the event, and it brought a crowd to the stream as well. So it was cool to interact with everybody and get to know a few other people that we haven't seen in the chat too much.
Yeah, for sure. There's a ton of you guys every single day, whether it was Friday, just getting those first few squads in, and then all the way to Sunday, all the way into the final match. There was hundreds of people all day long. So it was awesome.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of the Storm Utah Open this year?
Ooh. I don't know. I like getting to know the crowd that is over there because, like Chayton said, I'm around getting pictures, videos, all that kind of stuff, talking to people. And so some people will stop me, talk to me, ask me like how other people are doing, that kind of stuff. So it's nice just to like get to know everyone, have those conversations, kind of be that person to maybe get them out of their head a little bit. If they're not having such a great game, they'll come and chat for a second, maybe just kind of get out of that game mentality for a second. So that's probably my favorite.
True. You have a story with PJ on Sunday, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. I'm PJ's new coach, actually. So sorry, but my books are filled now with PJ's touring schedule. We're a little busy. So, but yeah, I'm PJ Haggerty's new coach.
What happened?
PJ was having a pretty rough like set, and he said he hadn't like bowled at the end of the house, the high end of the house. Yep. And he hadn't the whole weekend. He hadn't bowled down there until Sunday, and then from what I heard, there were people either having really good games down there or really bad games down there. So I just basically told him that, and all of a sudden he shot 230. And so he said if someone told me I was going to shoot 230 in this game, I would have laughed in their face basically. And so yeah, then he said that it was because of my coaching that he shot 230.
So in some way, you helped PJ. You were responsible for PJ getting to the step ladder.
Yeah.
Being the third seed.
Basically, that's what happens when you're a coach. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Legit. What moment was your favorite moment of the 2023 Utah Open?
Ooh, I don't know. There was a lot of, this one. I think it's super awesome that Manny got as far as he did with how tough it was all weekend, and he just kept like battling through. And even if he had a bad game, he came back and like was reset and had a good game. Like it was insane.
Yep.
So I think that's probably my favorite moment is basically Manny the whole weekend.
I think I'd have to agree. Manny's performance, he was in the top 3 or 4 for most of the finals. At least after the third or fourth game, he was up there in the leaderboard for quite a while until the second to last game, where he shot 150, right? And it dropped him to on the bubble. He was like either the first or second guy in with one game to go. And he had Brad Miller and Alex Hoskins and Marcia that was bowling good. There was a lot of people that were kind of surging late, and some really big names that have won some big titles and been in a lot of pressure. And Manny held them off. So that's kind of we had a little bit of a conversation once everything was said and done about the step ladder. Obviously, didn't end the way he wanted it to in the step ladder, but it got to a point where who tripped the most splits and who got better breaks, and that was Cameron Henning in the end, who ended up winning. So No, Dallas Long lost to Cameron Henning, and so did PJ Haggerty. So it's not really something to hang your hat on. He was just a guy with the look at that point. But it was what he did to get to that point. He shot a 150 game. And these are things that he could 100% control. He shot 150, and we came back with Alex Hoskins and Brad Miller trying to get in the show, missing it by double digits. He got in by single digits. And shot a good enough game. Picked some clutch spares late in that game. Shot a good enough game to keep him in and have an opportunity to bowl for a title. And I think that's the highest placing youth bowler, is what Steve was telling me, that they've ever had, ever. So it was pretty awesome to see the how he's grown mentally, having to fight. I think he's got some work to do as far as when it comes down to ball choice things, and these are just going to come with experiences. You can't really make these things up, like knowing what ball to go to or where to jump around on the lane. But it's exciting to see how mentally strong he's come, because that 150 game would wreck a lot of people when they know that there's guys like Alex Hoskins and Brad Miller knocking on the door, and you just gave up what was 40 pin lead over those guys. You gave up from 40 pins to single digits, so one hit somewhere. Because you shot 150. So bounced back, made the step ladder, and it didn't end the way you wanted it to, but man, it was exciting to see that last game before the step ladder was, man, it was intense. There was a lot of guys one hit away from making the show. Anthony Santos, Manny Farrow, Brad Miller, and Alex Hoskins, and Cameron Henning. 5 dudes. If they would have split one way or the other, another guy would have been in the show. So it was pretty exciting to watch, and it was exciting to share that with everybody else that was in the chat. So 2023 Storm Utah Open in the books, our biggest yet, and we move on from there, Kenzie. So what's the next thing that's on the list of things to go over?
I'm talking about League week 2 and 3.
Weeks 2 and 3 of League Night. We've got some videos coming out. We made like a little vlog type of deal, documenting Kenzie's journey through her first league. Tell us how it's been going.
So week 1 we talked about last time, which wasn't super great, which is the video we'll be coming out with. Week 2 we actually bowled with Stu Williams, and
True.
that was probably my best week so far. I shot my high of 131, so yay me. And week 3, we went back, and I was super pumped and excited that I was just going to go in and do as well as I did week 2, and I didn't. So, yeah, week 3 was a little rough.
Week 3 was tough, yeah, and, Kenzie's a competitor. She competes. And she doesn't like when she's not good at things, and it's really been a difficult challenge to try to coach her a little bit and get her to understand, maybe our scores aren't reflecting how much we're improving as of yet.
Yep.
But we're making some progress. We just drilled her up a night road, a 14-pound night road. It started with a 12-pound tropical surge. I didn't want to overdo it or hurt her or anything like that. We didn't know exactly where she was at. So we drilled her a 12-pound surge, and we found we were kind of manipulating the ball too much, I think, in your backswing. You were able to kind of pull it down too hard, and it was changing the ball's trajectory too much. And I think you could have just handled a 14 in the first place now looking back. So we drilled up a 14-pound ball. So this is a pretty common thing with people that are new to bowling. If they're getting their first ball, they don't necessarily know what weight to throw. And they might be intimidated with a 14-pound ball. What would you tell? How has going to a 14-pound ball been?
To me, it doesn't feel like much heavier, to be honest. I still haven't thrown it super well, I don't feel, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel too much different from a 12-pound ball to me. So. And
you have a fit, right? We fitted you for the ball. It feels to you almost stretched out a little bit, right? Because we got you in a fingertip grip. The thumb fits nice and snug. But because I kind of explained to you, we want the ball almost hanging on to you and not the other way around. Because if you're trying to squeeze it, you're going to be using a bunch of small muscles to try to not drop the ball and to throw it, and that's when it's going to start to feel really heavy. So you're generating your speed from the legs, which is what we should be doing. And we're still having a little bit of trouble manipulating with our shoulders what we want to do with the ball. So we're really trying to break that habit. I think we've got your footwork down, and you're consistently taking 5 steps and landing on your left foot, and we haven't had any issues with that. But your timing hasn't been great, and these are things that kind of come with time. You got to just do it, and we don't necessarily practice enough. So that's going to be – she's going to get some practice time in week 4 because I will be in Chicago and Indianapolis, so I won't be there for week 4 of League. But week 5 of League, once these episodes drop, hopefully we've made some progress.
Hopefully, because that would be the halfway mark. So
That will be the halfway mark. It's flying.
yeah. So we'd hope that we're seeing some good come out of it.
Speaking of time flying, man, it does not seem that it was that long ago that we had the Championship Bowling Masters. That was back in September, which we're coming up on 5 months now since that happened. And it doesn't feel like it's been that long.
I feel like on like one hand it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but then on the other hand it also feels like that was a long time ago. Like we've had so much
True.
since then that it feels like that was a year easily.
Yeah, when we were writing up sponsorship proposals and stuff, we had 2,200 Facebook followers.
We were Little Wang.
We were,
back there.
This guy. We were small. And since then, we're up to almost 18,000 Facebook followers, almost at 12,000 YouTube subscribers. We're over 10,000 Instagram.
11
almost 11,000, true, on Instagram. So we've kind of seen some actual exponential growth since we had the tournament, really. So that's been really cool to see. So we're in kind of uncharted waters. We've kind of started to reach a different new audience, I guess. Maybe not different, but more people are starting to figure out what we do here at Championship Bowling, and how cool that experience was, and our vision. We've kind of dropped a little bit of Easter eggs here on the website, maybe here on the streams or whatever, to what's to come. And you have a question to pose to the audience.
Yeah. So we are going to be starting a tour, and so we're kind of looking for centers that maybe you feel like a center in your area would be interested in hosting a tournament with us. So if you do, just drop it in the comments, like where it is, what the bowling alley name is. Just so we just kind of want to know like where you guys would like to see us. We have a couple places in mind. Some places that we're trying to work with right now, but obviously as we get bigger, we would love to get everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
We're gonna start small. We started with one tournament, right? We kind of observed other tournaments and started picking out what we liked best about those tournaments and made our own event. Yeah. And that's where we started. We wanted to make sure before we really jumped headfirst into this whole thing that we could do it, and we did, obviously. I thought it was a very good success. Very little things that went absolutely sideways. We learned some things. Most of all, importantly, though, we learned that we could do it. And we're excited to bring this vision to more people and show more people what we see as the kind of the future, where we're headed in the competitive game of bowling. And that's kind of why we call it Championship Bowling. We're not necessarily a professional organization, but it's not really amateur either. It's everybody, right? We're everywhere. We're all bowling kind of for championships, and we have kind of a model and a vision for. We want people to be able to get better, feel that they have fun and can compete within their own skill level, and then eventually get mixed with those of higher skill levels, so that then you get a kind of a taste at where maybe you're lacking. What do you need to work on to get over the hump and to move forward? So we've got some really cool concepts coming. We're talking to centers around the area. We're going to start kind of small. I think we're right now looking at probably 4 dates. For the inaugural season. We have a tentative schedule right now on the website. Not necessarily names or locations yet, but we have some dates that we're thinking of. And you can only see those on championship-bowling.com. We're just getting things set up. The groundwork has been laid, and now we're starting to kind of just slowly build it up. And I'm thinking probably sometime in February, March, we'll have an official announcement of the actual dates that they will be, which I hope don't change much. I hope the tentative dates stay what they are. It's really just nailing down the locations that we'll be in, and we've got some pretty cool things that I think if they work out, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And back to what you were saying about basically championship bowling, we just want everyone to be able to feel like they can compete.
Mhm.
We also want those people that maybe aren't interested in the competing aspect to come and have fun. So we want it to have that event feel, which we feel like with the Championship Bowling Masters, we were able to portray to everyone. We had games, raffles, all that kind of stuff. And I think we'll keep that also, so that your friends and family that want to come and watch you, whether they come and watch, they can watch on the stream, they can watch it in person, and then there's going to be stuff for them to do there too. So
I think it was actually kind of interesting to see people when they came in. I think they were kind of taken back a second when they saw all the stuff we had set up and prepared for them. You wouldn't necessarily feel this way at a NASCAR race or a basketball game or anything like that, or a football game. But we walked into a bowling center and you see like we have this prize wheel set up that had was sponsored by Rumby, and you could win Swarm swag or a free meal here or there. Some of the raffle items that we got donated, the merch that we had. We had a lot of different things that normally would never see at a tournament. And I think people at first were like, whoa, what is this? Because we had to kind of coax people like, hey, come on, spin the wheel. Let's try to get you something. And they didn't know what to do at first because they'd never seen something like that. So
yeah. And it was fun because at the beginning, everyone was kind of a little hesitant on the merch stuff. Like, oh, what the heck? That's weird. Like, that's interesting that it's here. But by the end of the day, or not end of the day, end of the tournament, everyone's like, oh, I need to get this cup. I need to grab this crew neck, this T-shirt, whatever. And then sometimes some people were like, oh, I wanted this cup, and someone already grabbed it. Yeah.
It was, and we had to keep people off the spin wheel because it was kind of loud, and it was right behind some of where the competitions lane were. So we had to kind of pump the brakes on it. But at first, like, we couldn't get anybody to really want to do it. We had to like pull them over, come on over, and then people were asking us like, how can I spin the wheel? How can I get one of these pieces of merch or a sticker or something? So
yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, we've got some really good plans. We've been to a lot of tournaments. We've been to a lot of tournaments at this point. Kenzie came into this about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. Probably didn't even know that competitive bowling was really a thing. And now she's been to a lot of tournaments. More tournaments than probably 80% of all bowlers have ever been to at this point. And so we have a good understanding of what a good tournament looks like, what maybe not a great tournament looks like, and what we want our events to look like. And we're just excited to bring these visions out to everybody, and hopefully we can capture a different audience. Because we had a lot of people in the chat when we did the Utah Open that either didn't bowl tournaments and wanted to, or didn't bowl league and wanted to get a new ball for themselves, or didn't even know that amateur events like this took place. It was only the highest level of professional bowling. So, and that Darren Tang, a professional bowler, was bowling in one of these events, right? So bowling's unique in that you can, as an amateur, make money bowling. As a youth bowler, make thousands of dollars of scholarship. You could put yourself through school. It used to be just straight making cash, right, and then paying your bills at college. But now you can make thousands and thousands of dollars in bowling scholarships and put yourself through school that way. So we have some really cool ideas. And at this point, it's just ticking. Time's just ticking, and we're ready to roll them out.
Well, and it's like bowling is also unique in that you can bowl with a professional bowler. Like in baseball, I'm not going to get to play a baseball game and get to play with Aaron Judge, even though that would be really cool. That's not a possibility necessarily, but in bowling, like you have the opportunity to meet those people that you are looking up to, ask them questions, pick their brain, learn from them. And I think that that's something really unique to bowling and something that just really helps bowlers, whether they're an amateur or another professional. Like the whole time at the Storm Utah Open, they were picking each other's brains, all of that.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point of players picking their brains, and you really get to see kind of the skill level difference between some of the professional amateurs and the actual professional bowlers. And Darren made a move on 5 and 6 at the Utah Open. 5 and 6 was the worst, one of the worst pairs that we could see, at least. No high scores were coming out of it. And he started the first 3 frames like face 2, 8, 10, face. Looked totally lost. And he was playing in with a face 2 and made a 30 board move right. And rarely is it the move to move right like that. But he made a 30 board move right and shot a $180. And it's probably, he probably wasn't happy about it, but he was happy to not shoot 140, which easily could have happened on that pair. And you get to see those things, right? The system just isn't set up that way in other games. Like, you just aren't going to play a baseball game against Aaron Judge or any professional baseball player like that, because it's not set up. But in this field, with how bowling's just kind of set up, you could bowl against a Darren Tang, and you could beat him. There's quite a few people that beat Darren Tang in this tournament with the way the format works out, and now how hard the lanes had been being, and it's competitive. When you walk into some of our events, it's not, you're going to have to bowl good, but there is a possibility you're most likely going to bowl against some pretty elite level talent at one of the CBT events. But yeah, it's going to be competitive. We want you to have fun. We want you to, qualify kind of in your own skill level division. And then once we do kind of like the finals format, advancers round, or whatever that next round is, we mix you together. And then you get to kind of see the level of difference that you are. Well, how do you get to that? If you're never incentivized like some handicap tournaments can do to bowl better, to get better, because then you just lose handicap and then you can't compete at that level. But in ours, it's always going to be scratch, and we want you to kind of qualify always in your own division so that you get a feel, am I the best in my division, my skill level? And then once you get past that, I've made this cut. Now I'm bowling against people that are a much higher skill level. What is it going to take to get to there? And you're never going to know unless you are there, unless you see it firsthand. Unless you either watch it or you bowl against it or you get beat by it, or maybe you pop a 230 off it and you snag a win, and you can see what did I do good there that someone else didn't. So that's what's unique about bowling. We're going to try to capitalize on that and just bring it different. We don't want to be the same as other sports, because if we do that, we'll never win. We need to be ourselves and own it, and that's what our plans are with the CBT.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, and we're excited to get these announcements rolling. Again, it's just a matter of time at this point. We've laid a lot of the foundation down. We're just slowly building up on top of it, and I'm thinking, like I said, February, March-ish. I think we'll have a lot of official announcements. We got a lot of cool systems in place, and just a lot of cool stuff for the people that follow us and the people that want to compete to interact with, I guess. And I don't know, we're just really excited to share it. And it's hard for me to keep it in, because I'm pretty proud of some of the ideas that we've been able to create and where it's going to go. and I'm excited for where we end up. So cool. Well, that's episode 2, Kens. Episode 2 of the Striking Kicks podcast. I hope you all enjoyed some of our perspectives, some of Kenzie's perspectives. PJ, you owe Kenzie one. She's the reason, essentially, how you got to second seed in the step ladder. Ended up being third, but you probably should have tipped her.
Maybe just a little, but it's okay.
It's all right. You do us a solid and you show up to one of our events, then we're even. We're good. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Striking Kicks, and we'll see you in the next one.